That's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Welcome to the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin. This week is episode 27, Bloodbath, and we're covering June of 1998. I'm Mike Prue along with JV. JV, how you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well.
Doing well.
Does our intro song ever get old? Does that not get you pumped up?
Oh yeah,
it gets me pumped up.
Hell yeah. But yeah. Well, you did talk about maybe changing it up a little bit at some point.
Yeah, I did.
It's definitely better.
On something.
It's definitely better than the Ringmaster music.
Yeah, that was terrible. That was pretty bad. But we do have we're gonna start brainstorming some ideas together. Hopefully within the next month or so, and switch things up a little.
Yeah, definitely.
Freshen it up.
Yeah, tell us what you think, guys. If you're sick of hearing the Stone Cold music, if you want something more a little original type of music opening here. But yeah, like I was saying, it's definitely better than what you had for the first, 4 or 5 episodes. I always think, like, did we scare off a bunch of listeners because of that opening music?
You only get one first impression, right?
Right. So some people that aren't totally familiar with the beginning of Stone Cold's run probably thought, what the fuck is this music got to do with Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Fucking Lost. What is this?
Yeah.
This is trash.
Lost. Oh, man. So anyway, hope you guys.
But the irony there is, I just got to put this out there to the listeners, is I didn't listen to the music because I don't listen to the fucking intro.
That's
we just
true.
hop right into recording.
Yeah. So JV was just pretending he heard the music.
Yeah. Kayfabe, bro.
Yeah. You got pumped up. I'm pumped up. I didn't hear the music though. We actually did listen to some music that we are going to play a little later from the Tom Green show, a little throwback to 1998. Because this is right around the time the Tom Green show was out, right? 98? 98, 97?
Yeah, I'd say so. I forget exactly. My reference of time is pretty bad. But it was in the 90s. So.
Oh, yeah, it was. I definitely think it's around this time, 98, maybe 99. But yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Because we were in high school when he was big.
Right.
So.
Yep. So we got a little Tom Green music. Probably it'll go over some of your heads or most of your heads, but
yeah.
We thought it was funny. We're gonna play it at the end of the show, so take a listen.
Maybe we'll tweet out the link too because the video's good too. So if you like it and you want to go back and see the video, we'll make sure we put that on Twitter.
Yeah, the video's gold. So yeah, we'll definitely get into that. But this week, what we're here for is June 1998. Last week we got into June. We got to June 1st. We got to the night after Over the Edge and Stone Cold Steve Austin versus the Corporate Dude Love in a hell of a match at Over the Edge. And then the following night rather, on the June 1st Raw, you had things start to heat up a little bit. Vince McMahon chewed out Mick Foley for taking a loss, and he's going to set his sights on somebody else to try to take away the title from Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that is Kane. As Kane won a number 1 contenders match against The Undertaker to become the contender at the King of the Ring that's coming up in a few weeks. So this week on our episode 27, Bloodbath, we're covering the 3 weeks of Raw leading up to King of the Ring. And next week we'll get into the King of the Ring and the match and the Raws that follow King of the Ring. All right, so this week covering June of 98, and we got some more classic Stone Cold Steve Austin stuff in store because Stone Cold is just on a hell of a run at this point, and the writing is excellent and just getting better and better. So we're going to start with Raw 263, and that's for June 8th, 1998, coming from Rockford, Illinois. The show's going to start off with Vince McMahon and the Stooges, and they're going to come out. They're dressed up. They're dressed to the nines, as some would say, and he's going to receive a special award. A special award. When I hear that phrase, like a special award or a big award, it reminds me of Christmas Story.
Yep.
Where the father's like, I'm going to get a special award. Or so something to, he gets something to that effect, and then he gets his he gets his leg in the his special leg lamp. And just because he won it, it's special. You know? It's not like it's not like he was disappointed. Anything. It's like he doesn't give a shit what it is. He enjoyed it because he won.
I think he would have been fine if when he cracked open that big crate, it was empty.
Yeah. Just the whole prize of it all.
Yeah.
So McMahon's going to get his special award, and he's all smiles this week. The past couple of weeks, he's been a real douchebag, and he's been turning major heel here at this point, or mega heel, and now he's just all smiles and happy because he's going to get a special award. So he's very jovial at this point. Then he gets on the mic, and you have a really hot crowd here in Illinois, and they're booing him like crazy. And he's trying to get their attention, and he's like, "May I have your attention, please? Thank you very much," and whatever. He's saying like "thank you very much" sarcastically because nobody will shut up. It's like, so thank you, and then the crowd finally quiets down, and he thanks them. He thanks Raw for being the most watched sports entertainment show in history, and that stood out to me because it's like, nobody's using that term really, sports entertainment. So yeah, it's easy to say you're the number one sports entertainment because nobody calls it that.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Right, everyone's calling it pro wrestling.
Pro wrestling, yeah, it wasn't a thing then.
Right,
it was frowned upon, in my opinion, to call it sports entertainment.
Yeah, that sucks. Sports entertainment
still is frowned upon. Still pro wrestling.
Still is. Still wrestling, man.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
He says, I come here before you tonight with generosity, caring, sharing in my heart. And then he continues to talk about his accolades, kind of blowing himself at this point. And the crowd's just like turning on him. Not turning on him, but just still on his ass, chanting for Austin. And Vince McMahon even points out, he's here tonight. And tonight, I'll be honored with the award. And Stone Cold Steve Austin is invited to join the celebration in a special black tie affair. JR is like, what the hell? I don't believe it. So we're going to have Vince McMahon getting an award, a humanitarian award for all his charitable donations. And Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to be invited. So Vince McMahon must be really happy to invite Stone Cold Steve Austin because he never wants Stone Cold around during any of his major awards.
No, he messes everything up.
Right, because he fucks everything up. So in this case, he's like, yeah, come on down. So something fishy's got to be going on if he's inviting him. So
and, JR makes out a point. He's like, about this being fishy. Like, he knows something's up. Like, something smells fishy about this whole affair. You know what I mean?
Right. Why wouldn't it be? Because I said, he never wants Austin around, but this time he does.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and he's all smiles about it. So, yeah. Something's up. We'll see what it is in moments. So, you had the black tie affair. Vince and the Stooges, they come back out. And you also have The Undertaker involved in some backstage stuff going on. He's at the gorilla position, and police and security are all around. And then that leads us now to the black tie affair that actually closes out the show. And you have Kevin Kelly in the ring. He's going to introduce Stone Cold Steve Austin. Steve Austin comes out. He has just his regular Stone Cold vest on. He's got his jean shorts on. But then he has a black tie around his neck with no shirt on.
Looks so funny.
Which is fucking awesome. You have the ring decorated for this affair. You have shitty-ass like Christmas garland all wrapped around the ropes. For this big special occasion. And McMahon obviously is disgusted by Austin's appearance. Because I said black tie. So, obviously, Austin responds, what are you, colorblind? This is a black tie. The first thing I thought was, well, if he was colorblind, that'd probably be the only thing he would notice, is that it was black.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that color stays constant.
Yeah.
Black ain't like fucking bright pink if you're colorblind.
Yeah, it's not a color. It's just black.
Yeah.
All right, so in the ring, you have some football players. You have George Martin from the New York Giants, and he's a co-founder of a special organization. and he's going to give McMahon a humanitarian award for his charity. But they're very like sarcastic about it. Like he didn't really actually give money or like. So George Martin's like, I have the dubious distinction of giving you this award, and we would like to say we are happy with the donation, but it was a lot less than was promised. And then at that, Stone Cold's like smiling, like, you cheap son of a bitch. So he says, after not one, but 2 attempts, the check finally cleared. So they're kind of just making like McMahon look like a shit bum.
Yeah.
But they're still going to give him the humanitarian award. And George Martin goes on to say, the children have understood that you haven't been able to make it to the organization. They understand, making them feel like shit.
Yeah, such an empty donator.
Yeah, like here's the money. I don't give a shit what it's for or who the kids are. So Martin finally hands over the award, but then he sneaks in. By the way, my favorite WWF superstar is Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then another football player, Darnell Autry, who is standing in for Walter Payton and Hallis, the Hallis Payton Foundation. Yep. And they're going to give him an award also. But meanwhile, Austin is just like hovering around McMahon, kind of being like a creep, laughing at everything going on. And he actually goes into McMahon's pockets and takes out $1,200 from his pocket. So he says, on behalf of the tightest son of a bitch in the world, if you think you think he should be the jackass of the year, give me a hell yeah.
It's funny watching him count the money. Because I was wondering as he's kind of like, hey, I wonder how much is there. It's a pretty fat wad, bro.
So he's counting it off. It's funny. Yeah, it is a big wad. But right from there, the Undertaker's music hits. And what you get is the Druids come out. Haven't seen the Druids in a long-ass time.
No.
I always like the Druids. Like creepy, something's up.
Me
something
too.
Going on.
Yeah, I like it. The Druids are, a great, I don't know what you call them. I don't want to call them a side act because that.
Yeah, it's like a great addition to the gimmick.
Yeah. That pop up every once in a while. They're never
they're not overused.
Yeah, they don't overstay their welcome.
Yeah. I mean, I always would suspect that there's going to be some kind of person. There's going to be some heel within the Druids, and they're gonna sneak out. Like you never know what to expect with them. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's just nothing, but sometimes it's part of an angle. So the Druids come out nonetheless, and Austin's in the center of the ring. And then Mankind comes from behind. He gets in the ring. Mankind whacks Austin from behind. Kane pops out of the casket, comes into the ring, and they team up on Austin. Austin gets tossed into the casket, and then McMahon comes into the ring, and he looks all happy, celebrating with Paul Bearer, Mankind, and Kane. So this was what was fishy. This is what JR thought was fishy all along. Was this setup, basically. Vince McMahon set up Stone Cold Steve Austin. And meanwhile, Undertaker is held backstage. He's surrounded by the police, and he can't get out there to make the save. So, good situation there. And last week, Kane got his number 1 contender shot, and now it seems like McMahon is working alongside, which we know he is. He's orchestrating all this. And Kane got Austin tossed right into the casket. So there you go. So that's pretty much that'll conclude what we have to say about Austin on this episode. So we'll get into the side notes now. JV, was there anything you wanted to add about that whole segment there with the Undertaker and the Kane and the casket?
Yeah, so that guy George Martin is a natural on the mic.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he was good. He was flowing. I don't remember who the hell he was. I don't even know if he was a good football player, and I know sports, as you know, pretty damn well.
Yeah.
I don't know who the hell that guy is. Like, was he a real football player?
It's probably before our time, though. It's probably like a mid-'80s guy.
Yeah.
But
he was – I don't know how talented of a football player he was, but he was a hell of a talented speaker.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you see, like, these celebrities come on TV for wrestling and they just suck. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even the actors, they just don't come across right live on a microphone. And this guy just did such a great job that it helped the segment out. Because sometimes they come out, the guy talks like a robot. Like,
they're all nervous
actors they have
shit.
come out. Yeah, these two guys were good.
Let me see. I got some George Martin information to pull up right here, so let's just see. He had career 46 sacks, 3 picks, 3 touchdowns in his career. He played for the Giants from 1975 to 1988. He got the Super Bowl championship. I think that was 87.
Is he a Hall of Famer or anything?
He's in the New York Giants Ring of Honor, so he's in their Hall of Fame.
He's a Belichick guy, it sounds like. So
Yeah.
At the tail end of his career, right?
Right. So he won the Super Bowl with Belichick as defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He was on the defensive line. Oh, yeah. That's George Martin.
Yeah, I just felt like I had to give this guy props.
Oh, he sacked John Elway in the end zone for a safety one time.
Did he? Nice, even better. Hate John Elway.
Oh, no, that was during a Super Bowl. They're in a Super Bowl. Martin sacked John Elway in the end zone for a safety, cutting the Broncos' lead 10-9. It was held there until halftime. So, yeah, he was a big part of the Giants winning that Super Bowl.
Nice.
All right. 14 years playing, too, so that's a good career.
Yeah.
And he could speak, and he didn't shit his pants on Raw.
Yeah, he was good. So this guy's just a all-around talented dude. One of those that do good at anything he does.
Yeah. So we generally play clips. We have a clip for this. JV, do you want to play it? We usually play the clip first, but I just got right into talking about it without mentioning the clip.
Yeah, we can. We'll play the clip.
All right, so take a listen to the clip, guys, and then we'll be right back to talk about the side notes.
Probably going to be the one to take care of Stone Cold. We're talking payola here. But one of those blacks over his head. This could be great.
I said black tie. Oh, it's just a black tie, isn't it? Are you colorblind? Isn't that a black tie?
Man,
Let's let the festivities begin. And by the way, thank you for joining us.
That's right, Mr. McMahon. It's your night.
Ladies and gentlemen, our first presenter this evening. He was a member of the 1986 New York Giants Super Bowl championship team.
This is it. Watch this.
His leadership on the field as a player has continued to charitable works off the field.
Fans of the Big Blue
He
know
is
who
the
George Martin
co-founder
is.
of
He was a great athlete in his day.
Athletes
Well,
Network,
he and
whose
Darnell
charitable
Audrey could
reach
probably
goes to
do
the
a number
local
on Stone
communities,
Cold.
giving job training to underprivileged
think?
teenagers in hopes that they not only build jobs
if
but
they bust
also
those plaques
a
over
career.
Austin's
Ladies
head,
and gentlemen, our
Austin
first
will be
presenter
history.
tonight.
Well,
will you
quite
please
frankly, I'm
welcome
a little bit more
Mr.
concerned
George
right
Martin.
now about what's going on with The Undertaker and why he's been surrounded by police. Here goes. By
Mr.
McMahon's
McMahon.
militia. Listen, here goes.
I have been given the dubious distinction of
Dubious.
recognizing you for your contribution to our organization.
We know dubious.
And I'd like to say that we did receive your very generous contribution, even though it was significantly less than what we had originally been promised.
These damn charities want the shirt off your back.
I'd also like to say, Mr. McMahon, that
Lord Austin
after
stared at McMahon.
not one but 2 attempts, that check finally cleared.
Of course. Claire.
And
I'm
finally,
sure.
Mr. McMahon, I'd like to say that the children of our organization have been very understanding over your very busy schedule and you not being able to come to our organization.
Well, they should be. You know how busy
So with
he
that,
is.
Mr. McMahon, I'd like to say to you that it is my pleasure to recognize you for your contribution as our Humanitarian of the Year. And by the way, Mr. McMahon,
Here we go.
on a personal note, I'd just like for you to know that my favorite WWF superstar happens to be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
What? What an inbreak. I just find this awfully ironic that while this is going on, The Undertaker has been surrounded
Ladies and
by
gentlemen, our
Look at this,
second
nothing.
presentation.
There's get him. McMahon's militia
courtesy
has
of
surrounded The Undertaker.
A
They got him-
Northwestern
they got him
University
cornered.
All-American and Chicago Bears running back, who tonight is representing the George Halas Walter Payton Foundation, whose charitable works
Hey, King,
not
what?
only
maybe this is a
include
trap for Mr.
a
McMahon.
tremendous amount of
Maybe
work in
Autry
the
and
local
Martin
community
are on
with adoption,
Austin's
but
side.
also this past year,
no.
the Halas Payton Foundation
I'll have to spring
provided
into action.
Christmas gifts to over 38,000 Chicago area children. Here to make the second
ruin this
presentation,
black tie affair. Come
Chicago
on.
Bears running back, Darnell Autry.
Hit Austin with the plaque. It's almost an oxymoron. Chicago
very
Bears
much.
running back.
I too, like my colleague, would also like to present Mr. McMahon with the George Halas Walter Payton Humanitarian Award.
Yeah.
but I don't remember him giving us a check.
Why is Austin smiling right now? That's a clerical error.
Whatever. Anyway, I would like to present this humanitarian award to Mr. Vince McMahon. And Mr. McMahon, I'd also like to let you know that my favorite superstar is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Wait, this is not right. But look at Mr. McMahon. He's still got that smile on his face. Nothing is going to spoil this evening for
Ladies
him.
and gentlemen, courtesy of Man and the Hallis Payton Foundation, the Humanitarian of the Year, Mr. Vincent K. McMahon.
Yes. Well, not a huge rousing ovation as you can hear. Morons. But Mr. McMahon, undaunted.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Listen.
I must say that your attempt at humor is only exceeded by my generosity. Nonetheless, Darnell and George, thank you very much for this special honor. And I would like to thank each
JR.
and every one of you.
The fans for what? Buying tickets?
I believe that indeed I humbly, but yet deservedly, accept this award tonight.
I agree. It's Austin.
There may be a few of you who might disagree, but the vast majority of you would concur that indeed I deserve such an accolade.
Yes, keep your eye
based
on Austin,
upon
though.
my efforts as of late to turn the cheek, so to speak.
Briscoe's maneuvered his way
And
behind
even
Austin. Good.
tonight, and a magnanimous gesture, my extension of friendship to Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Here we go, JR.
And no
not
doubt
right
my
here.
dedication and loyalty to each and every one of you all over the world.
Look at Austin. He's laying for McMahon.
And I vow that I will take these awards tonight and put them on the very same wall as all of the other awards that I have received throughout my
wall, JR.
lifetime. And one day, they will be presented in a future WWF Hall of Fame. I thank you. Thank you.
What is Austin doing?
Hey, that's my money.
He's a pickpocket. Wow, look at that. That's a roll. That'd choke a horse. Wait a minute. He reached right into Mr. McMahon's pocket, pulled out all his money. Hey, King, those are some big bills. What is he doing? A thief. Who carries that much cash with him? Well,
There's exactly $1,200 here.
wow.
And on behalf of the tightest son of a bitch in the world,
What?
Vincent K. McMahon, I'd like to further these donations to a hell of a cause.
Something's going down, JR.
And I don't know about Humanitarian of the Year, Vince, but if you think you should be Jackass of the Year, give me a hell yeah.
He's ruining this. Well, there goes the celebration. He's ruining.
All right, so there you have it. So there wasn't a whole lot of Stone Cold, but we figured since we talked about George Martin for a couple minutes, talking about how good he was on the mic, we might as well have played the clip for you. So there it was, and I'm sure you agree with us that the guy has some confidence on the mic. So let's get into the side notes. Talking about side notes. All right, so unfortunately, sad thing happens here. At the beginning of Raw, they announced that the Junkyard Dog passed away on June 2nd, 1998, and he died in an automobile accident. I didn't look much into it, but they have a special tribute to open up the show, and it just made me think of Junkyard Dog growing up, and my earliest wrestling memories come around the year 1987, which is when he was in the WWF, and I just thought he was awesome and he was cool, and he always had the kids dancing in the ring with him. So he was just this big baby face, and he wasn't great or anything. He didn't win any championships in WWF, and I didn't realize until much later that he was actually a huge star in the Mid-South wrestling territory earlier on in the 80s, and he was jacked as a motherfucker. So he was in great shape. But by the time he came to WWF, he was not like he was before. But Vince McMahon still knew how to take his star qualities and present him to a large audience and made him into a superstar on another level than he was in Mid-South. I'm sure the people that grew up with Mid-South and lived down in the Mid-South would say, oh, no shit, Junkyard Dog's a big star. But he would never have been the big star on another level if he didn't go to WWF. And that's just the facts.
They were the show in town during that time, and that's it. That's just the way it was.
Especially because WWF blew up in the
That's
late
what I mean,
80s. Yeah. So he was exposed to a much larger audience by coming to WWF. And only people, like today, people would only know of him. If he never went to WWF, and people today would only know of him from just like going back and looking back at old wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, and that would be a small amount of people doing that.
Yep.
You know, he wouldn't have been as mainstream as he was.
We would look at him differently, you and I.
Right.
Because we know that's the Junkyard Dog we knew was the WWF one.
Right. And that's how most people know him throughout the rest of the country. So, Sylvester Ritter, Junkyard Dog. That's, sad story about dying in an automobile accident. But now, let's move on to the King of the Ring. We got the King of the Ring qualifying matches. Now, there's one thing that stood out to me as a side note here is that on the brackets, it has Shamrock versus Godfather. Okay, so today, we know Godfather. We see it on the bracket. Say, oh, Godfather. But the thing is, there was no Godfather yet when this was on the bracket.
That's a good catch. I didn't catch that. I didn't realize he was only Karma at the time.
Yeah, he was only Kama. And just the week prior, on June 1st, on Raw, when they first showed the brackets for the following week, he was Godfather. But the night before Over the Edge, he wrestled as Kama. There was no Godfather-type gimmick. He wasn't even wearing his little hat yet. But they already knew they were going that way, and they put it in the bracket, and they never announced that, oh, this is the Godfather. Oh, they never even referred to him as that, so that just stood out. But this is officially the night that he's going to be announced as the Godfather, Kama Mustafa. So they knew ahead of time, of course, and then finally just revealed it here on June 8th. So pretty cool, because who would have known at that point that he would go into the Hall of Fame as the Godfather in 2016?
Yep.
So he had this career as Papa Shango, Kama the Supreme Fighting Machine, and Kama Mustafa, and then out of nowhere, 1998, he gets this Godfather gimmick. He sounds like a gimmick that probably he came up with, Just kind of shooting the shit backstage, like, oh yeah, I'm the Godfather. People probably referred to him as the Godfather. And they just went with that, and it led to a Hall of Fame gimmick. So, pretty cool. And you have Ken Shamrock in action there. Ken Shamrock's going to win the match. Shamrock advances to fight Mark Henry in the first round. And Owen Hart versus Too Cold Scorpio. This is the first time we get the enough is enough, and it's time for a change. You get that music for the first time mixed with a little bit of Nation of Domination type music, which was cool how they gave members their own music, even though it was similar to the Nation music. I think maybe just like D'Lo and Kama had the regular Nation music. It was only Rock and Owen Hart that had custom made.
Yeah, because now that you mentioned that, I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on that as we, watch these next few Raws over the next year or so. And
yeah. Well, it's kind of like with DX, how X-Pac ends up getting his own kind of DX music that's just, tailored for him.
Yep.
I don't know if you noticed that, but yeah, he has his own. Triple H has his own. New Age Outlaws do their own thing with the music playing. They're on the mic talking. So yeah, it's a little different for everybody. All right, so you have basically Owen Hart advances against Too Cold Scorpio with the sharpshooter. D'Lo Brown versus Dan Severn. Dan Severn's going to advance. Owen Hart is going to come out and hit Severn with a spinning heel kick after the match. I don't know why that happened, but whatever. But that concludes the King of the Ring qualifying matches. And then that brings us now to DX. You get DX in New York City, which was pretty cool. I like this segment. It's pretty fun. And they announced that SummerSlam 98 is going to be at Madison Square Garden in New York City. So they have DX out in the streets. They're talking to Asians in the city.
This is a great segment. Yeah.
They're like, have you seen Godzilla? Have you seen Godzilla?
Yeah.
You have
She's like, no, what?
You have a police officer doing the suck it.
Yep.
And there was one guy that stood out to me. It's like typical liar type guy. He's like, Yeah, I just bought my tickets to SummerSlam.
Yeah.
They're not even
that
out
guy was
yet.
like, get the fuck out of here. No way they were out already. Fucking caca.
Knew that guy was a fucking liar. Yeah, I got my SummerSlam tickets already, all right? Yeah, right, buddy. And then Triple H, funny, like knowing his role in WWE now. And again, it's acting, of course, so it's not really him. It's just a role he's playing. But he goes up to the magazine vendor and he's like, do you have a copy of a Pakistani magazine?
Yeah. Do you have the copy of the Pakistani magazine? Like,
and the guy's just looking at him like, huh? What?
yeah. Like, doesn't know whether or not he should be offended or should he give him a Pakistani magazine.
And what the hell's the Pakistani? What the hell's the Pakistani magazine?
Who's this tall white guy with a big nose and long blonde hair talking like that for?
Then later in the segment, they're standing with a guy. I swear to God, it's the guy that portrayed Billionaire Ted. It looks just like the guy that played Billionaire Ted, but just like in regular clothes.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
He looked just like him. So
I'm saying it's him. All right, gotcha. The same actor, you mean?
Yeah, the actor. Yeah.
All right, gotcha. All right, yeah.
Then maybe they just bumped into him, like, "Hey, here you are." They don't reference him as Billionaire Ted or anything.
Yeah.
Oh, just want to give a little side shout out. I'm watching SmackDown in the background, and an old friend of ours, Teddy Goods, is doing security. He's in the show right now. He's not like doing security for Mohican Sun, but he's part of the gimmick right now, going on stage.
Oh, that's at Mohegan Sun tonight?
Yeah. So.
Oh, for some reason I thought it was in Providence.
Teddy Goods is the first guy in the line right now.
Nice.
He's one of the security guards to protect Shane McMahon.
Great to see a talented local guy there.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. So back to the show. Yeah, so you just get some cool DX shit going on. A lot of the shit reminds me of what we were talking about earlier. Our little surprise or little treat we have for everybody at the end is remind me of the Tom Green show. So they're doing just random shit in the streets and it reminded me of Tom Green when he used to just come up to random people in the streets and just, ask them stupid questions. So it reminded me of this Tom Green skit where he goes up to an old lady and I bring up the old lady because they have an old lady do Suck It. So,
yeah.
So that reminded me of the old lady that Tom Green went up to and just started singing, and then she started singing, and she was like, up and away we go, and away we ride, and away we
just
go, away go.
And he's got a megaphone, and he's like screaming in her face. Not screaming, but like, making the sound effects back, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of going.
Away we go, and away we like almost remixing it over her. And he's got like a mini. Do you call it a megaphone? Because it's not a real megaphone.
Yeah,
it's like a plastic cup almost.
Oh,
he's got his hands cupped over the cup.
Oh, yeah, so that's no megaphone.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, you know how like they have them, like cheerleaders use them and shit, but they're not like the electric ones.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They're like just like they're cones. I don't know what the fuck
they're
called.
I don't know
Plastic
what they're
cones, and people yell through them.
Right. So we'll have that for you later. Because you're probably thinking right now, what the fuck are these guys saying?
Yeah, what the hell is this guy talking about? A parking cone?
Well, not even that. Just the words, up and away we go. What the hell is that?
Oh, yeah, that's it. They're so fucking lost right now. If they've stuck around and haven't hit that fast forward 15-second button, thank you.
All right. Was there anything else you wanted to bring up in terms of side notes? There is quite a bunch of shit that goes on. You have DX, they're in a match. LOD comes down. Sergeant Slaughter's around. He's telling everybody that they need to leave. And just a lot of random bullshit going on with DOA and LOD and DX. And then you get a tag team triple threat match. LOD 2000 DOA and New Age Outlaws. And I guess the only cool thing that came from that is that the New Age Outlaws, because it was a triple threat match, apparently anybody could pin anybody and the match would end. So New Age Outlaws pin each other they keep the titles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, based on the stipulation, it was good, but you can't do that again. That's like a one-time thing.
Yeah, you can never do that again.
Right.
It's like, all right, yeah, you got us once. Don't do it ever again.
Yeah. So, and apparently, you have the Undertaker. He's on a rampage. So earlier in the episode, we talked about how he's being held back from the cops, and he can't get out to make the save for Austin, and he's being held back. And that's all because he's been going through the whole lineup, basically, of wrestlers, the whole roster, just choke slamming the shit out of people, match after match. So he like gets involved in 3 matches. You got Chains versus Puke, which Undertaker comes down, he choke slams both of them. Pretty damn sweet that he does, because fuck Puke and fuck Chains, a fake Undertaker, so he deserves another choke slam from the dead man. Then you get Mark Henry versus Vader, and then Undertaker comes down, he choke slams both of them. And you got Val Venus versus Dustin Reynolds. I felt bad for Val Venus, but he gets choke slammed. And you got Dustin Reynolds, he gets choke slammed. And then Undertaker even attacks Sergeant Slaughter backstage, so that's why all the cops are around, making sure that he doesn't come down to the ring during Vince McMahon's special occasion for his black tie affair. And that's about it. So was there anything that you wanted to touch on before we move on?
We did mention during the DX segment the girls that were flashing.
Oh, I didn't mention them.
Well, there are girls flashing their tits. I believe it's 2 of them. They're in there.
Yep.
So it was the 90s. It was a less sensitive time for America.
You weren't offended by tits back then.
Yeah.
All right, so
even blurred ones.
Yeah, that's fine. The illusion.
It's not so fine nowadays. Yeah, the illusion's like, you can't do it.
Right, the illusion of tits is enough for a 15-year-old boy.
Yeah. You can't imagine anything. Everyone must conform and walk in a straight line. Anyway.
Yeah. All right, so that was the Raw for June 8th, 1998, and that was the day before JV's birthday. So you're now moving up another age bracket there.
Yeah.
Was it 14? Yeah, turned 14.
Yeah, I've been 14 the next day.
Yep. So we go to the next week, Raw 264, on June 15th, 1998. We're going to start off with the Vince McMahon promo, and we're going to do the promo first like usual, because I fucked that one up earlier and just went into talking about it. Well, we got Vince McMahon cutting a promo, and this promo is going to go on quite a while, so we're going to break it up into segments, because a few people are going to come out, kind of like how they do it today, where somebody starts it, and then another person comes out, then another person comes out, and that's kind of what we got. So we're going to break that down. I'm just going to play a clip at a time, talk about it, then move on to the next clip. So the first clip has to do with Vince McMahon. He's going to come out to the ring. He's going to be introduced by Sable, who is back, but she wasn't really fucking gone at all because it's only been 2 weeks. And they make a big deal out of Sable coming back. Oh my God, Sable's back! Well, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like, what do you mean? It's not like she's been gone since like the fucking Royal Rumble.
Right. And just the fact that,
2 episodes ago.
Well, and also, it's kind of annoying, too, because they make a big deal like, oh, she's going to have to leave. Well, why the hell is she back then already after 2 weeks?
Yeah.
She loses to Mark Barrow. So they don't give a shit about stipulations.
Hell no. They're like, we need to get Sable on TV, period.
Yeah.
And nobody complained.
All right, so let's play the clip of Vince McMahon after he gets introduced by Sable. So take a listen.
This is Austin country, folks.
He got his last week. But in an effort to clear up this alleged conspiracy theory concerning Vince McMahon, Sable, I wonder if you'd be so kind as to read this prepared statement for me.
She looks a bit hesitant.
I, Vince McMahon, the humanitarian of the year, resent any and all accusations that I, last week, in my finest hour, would stoop so low as to use legitimate charitable organizations to further my personal agenda against Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Huh.
I hereby publicly disavow any reference or knowledge of the willful and heinous attack perpetrated on the current WWF champion 1 week ago. I remain steadfast in my resolve to be a caring, generous, and even jovial WWF owner, and to furthermore bring the parties responsible for last week's attack on Stone Cold to justice. Thank you for your kindness and understanding, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Who wrote that for him?
His PR machine.
What?
I certainly hope that clears up that alleged conspiracy.
Well, not really. Somebody's responsible for Austin getting set up last week. Somebody's responsible for it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for the return of Sable. Thank you very much, Sable.
All right, so Vince McMahon heads out to the ring after being introduced by Sable. He wants to clear the air that there's a conspiracy. Last week on Raw, he had his charitable event, his black tie affair, and Stone Cold got attacked by Kane and by Mankind. And he wants to clear the air that he had nothing to do with that. That was not a conspiracy. He would not use his charitable contributions as a platform or his awards ceremony for a platform to sneak attack on Steve Austin. He's much better than that. He would never do anything like that. Denies any involvement in Stone Cold's attack by Mankind and Kane. And he's going to bring Mankind and Kane to justice. That's what he claims here. So that now leads to Stone Cold having something to say about that. So his music's going to hit. He's going to come out. And he has his view about what's going on. So take a listen to Stone Cold.
Uh-oh. Business is picking up early tonight. The WWF champion is here. He's damn sure not in a good mood, and who can blame him after what happened last week? I think Austin may be putting Sable out of harm's way. Which leads me to believe that Mr. McMahon may get his Connecticut rear end whooped by a Texan deep in the heart of.
I just want to let you know that while she was reading that bunch of crap that you wrote, I threw up about 6 times backstage.
I guess he didn't buy the explanation.
Well, who did?
What you're fixing to get right now, because I'm a little tired of all your chicken shit things that you've been doing to me, I'm fixing to come up there and I'm going to put this foot in your ass, and there ain't nothing you can do about it.
McMahon's cornered. He can't go anywhere.
Mr. McMahon, you're not tenured.
No, wait a minute. Listen to reason, Steve.
Look out.
No, please. Please, just for once in your life, listen to reason and don't react in a physical, violent way.
If you want me to react in a physical and violent way, give me a hell yeah.
Uh-oh. No, wait. Steve, please, no. Listen to reason. No.
Maybe this is...
Listen to reason. Wait. Just listen to reason. Listen to reason. Please.
Toto. This is Texas.
Listen to reason, please, just once. I'm begging you, just listen to The Undertaker.
What?
The Undertaker. No. The Undertaker. It was The Undertaker. I swear on my grandmother's kittens. I know that this is preposterous. But hear me out. Please hear me. Just hear me out this once. Who was it? Who was it that challenged you 2 weeks ago? Who was it that walked into the ring and said, I want your WWF Championship? Who was it? It was The Undertaker. That's who it was. It was The Undertaker. Stone Cold, that's your WWF Championship, not The Undertaker's. But I know this is far-fetched, but hear me out. Last week, The Undertaker knew what he was doing. Undertaker, he knew I was going to call the cops on him. I had to. Think about it. Because when The Undertaker came down and he drove superstar after superstar, chokeslammed to the canvas, and he wreaked havoc, he knew I'd call the cops. And you know what? I fell for it. You fell for it. And everybody else did too. Because think, he surrounded himself with those cops just so he wouldn't have to come down for the save. I know it sounds far-fetched, but that's what happened. I couldn't believe it myself. Just remember one thing. The Undertaker is from the dark side, Stone Cold. He's from the dark side. And in my book, The Undertaker might as well be the devil himself. And he wants...
Man, this is getting interesting. Here comes The Undertaker.
All right, so Stone Cold comes out pretty hot about Sable's reading of Vince McMahon's message that he had for everybody. And he points out that, while she was reading what you wrote, I threw up about 6 times backstage. But even before that, I thought this was pretty cool. And I got my own conspiracies about this, but Austin leads Sable out of the ring, trying to protect her, be safe so she doesn't get involved in anything that happens in the ring. He holds the rope open for her, like he's Macho Man and Elizabeth. Holds the ropes open. He also holds her hand as she walks down the steps, like a big gentleman. It's funny because he's not like this at all with the men, but when it comes to Sable,
no, he's not.
He's being a gentleman. He's a nice guy with the women. And my conspiracy is Steve Austin was fucking Sable.
Hot take, only on the Bottom Line Cast.
No, there was a few things in the past too, like just little...
Yeah.
Like the time that Jim Ross was like, oh, Sable staring into those baby blue eyes of Stone Cold Steve Austin. And she was all excited about him, like, not stunning Mark Marrow. She looked like she wanted to jump on
Hey, maybe they did.
And then there was that other time that Stone Cold was looking for a partner, and he went to go ask Sable, and Sable was getting the Austin 316 shirt on, but she didn't have it on fully yet. And she's like, I told you not to come in. I said, I thought you told me to come in. And then... And then he closes his door, and then he pokes his head back in and says, don't get all hot about it. So they've had a few segments in the past. So
now, I'm going to piggyback off your conspiracy theory with another theory. Right. Maybe Stone Cold always had a little thing for Sable. Maybe he always liked her. And part of the reason why he didn't want to lose to Brock Lesnar, right? Isn't that like part of the thing? He didn't want to lose to Brock Lesnar towards like the end of his career.
Yep.
Maybe it's because he really liked Sable, and Brock was like married to her. Or they were dating at the time, no?
Yeah,
because they're married now or something, right?
Right. Maybe they were seeing each other at that point. I'm not sure about the timeline, but
maybe that's why he didn't want to do the job.
Well, maybe he's just like, fuck that guy. I was fucking his girl before. Fuck him.
Yeah, right. It's funny.
And maybe he's like, Sable, Deborah. I can't tell the fucking difference.
Yeah.
I don't know who I was banging.
Yeah. He definitely has a thing for blondes, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, Lady Blossom. Blondes with big tits.
And he's a nice guy. He was a role model for a lot of young men. Treated his women with respect, walked them out of the ring. He's a great guy.
It's funny, though, because I was just saying, he's got a thing for blondes with big tits. Well, who doesn't have a thing for blondes with big tits?
Yeah, right.
So it's not like he had, some special kind of girl he was into.
Yeah.
It's pretty standard.
He just liked women. Got it.
Yeah.
He liked pretty, attractive women.
Yeah. Well endowed, too.
Yeah.
All right, so Stone Cold comes out, like I said. He's puking backstage, and he just wants to say, I'm tired of all the chicken shit things you've been doing to me. I'm fixing to come up here, and I'm going to put this foot in your ass, and there's nothing you can do about it. So Vince McMahon, totally different than he was when he was talking to Mick Foley not too long ago. Vince McMahon is now, scared as shit. And he responds, for once in your life, can't you just listen to reason and not react in a physical, violent way? So Austin's comeback obviously is, if you want me to react in a physical and violent way, give me a hell yeah. So you get the hell yeah from the crowd. And Austin proceeds to walk right after McMahon. And McMahon started to walk around the ring, so he's kind of chasing him around the ring. And McMahon's just kind of shitting his pants. And keeps saying, listen to reason. Listen to reason. Listen to reason. So Austin finally goes back in the ring to cut off Vince McMahon. And McMahon's gonna blame the Undertaker for everything that happened. He says, you're not gonna believe this. It might sound preposterous, but hear me out. But who was it that challenged you 2 weeks ago? It was the Undertaker. Last week, the Undertaker knew what he was doing. He knew I'd call the cops, and he surrounded himself with those cops, so he didn't have to come down here and make the save. He even says "make the save," like the wrestling term. He didn't come down, so he wouldn't come down here to make the save. The Undertaker's from the dark side in my book, and he might as well be the devil himself. And at that point, Taker's music's going to hit, and he's going to come out. But I think that's pretty interesting that we have this storyline now where maybe the Undertaker is behind all this, too. Because then even Paul Bearer gets in on it, too, which we'll get to. And
all the cards, they're trying to stack the cards against Taker. So that it shows, if everyone's telling the same story, everyone has the same lie, it starts to become believable. Is that true?
Right. That's pretty cool.
Vince McMahon does swear on his grandmother's kittens. There's something stupid like that. Yeah. Dude, he says grandmother's kittens. The fuck?
All right, so we got another clip now, and that's The Undertaker, and also Paul Bearer is going to come out during this segment. So take a listen to that, and then we'll cover it after you take a listen.
But is it true that The Undertaker could be the orchestrator of this conspiracy?
Yeah, it's true. I came out here and I challenged you for the World Wrestling Federation title. But I did it like a man. I came out here in front of the whole world and I asked what's rightfully mine, a title shot. And the way I did it with respect for you and where you've brought yourself. And maybe it's just old school, but I still respect what that world title stands for. So no matter how entertaining or plausible McMahon's conspiracy theory is, you know, and I know, it's a damn lie.
Whoa. Mr. McMahon's hand's been called. And he is in no man's...
You make a living on manipulating the minds of those weaker than you. So there's something I want you to know before I come down there and remove your head from the rest of your body. You will never, ever be able to manipulate the mind of The Undertaker.
Wait a minute.
What's going on now?
Oh my God. Don't you tell me. We know who's coming now. Oh, that's Kane. Paul Bear. In Mankind. What else is going to happen here? The owner got a reprieve, at least momentarily.
Well. Congratulations to you, Undertaker. Congratulations for the Academy Award winning performance that you put on last Monday night. For a few minutes there, I think Stone Cold Steve Austin actually believed you when you were pointing your accusing finger at Mr. McMahon. But you know, and I know, that Mr. McMahon didn't have a damn thing to do with the plan last week. As far-fetched as it may sound, The Undertaker and I hatched that plan in hell.
What? Man, that's a revelation.
And it worked pretty good, didn't it, dead man? You want more than the gold that Steve Austin is holding in his hand. You, just like Satan himself, want to take Steve Austin's very soul. You, Undertaker, wanted to entrap Stone Cold in that cell hanging above your heads tonight. You wanted that, Undertaker. But I've gone as far as I can go with you. There's going to be entrapment tonight. Oh, yes, there is. But it's not going to be the entrapment that you want. On behalf of my son, Kane, and on behalf of Mankind, I challenge both of you to a tag team match. Tonight, right in that very ring, right in that cell above your head.
Whoa. Man, oh man.
Can you believe that?
So that's why it's been hanging there all day.
Congratulations, gentlemen. You are standing at the entrance ramp to the highway to hell.
Oh my. So there you have it. Oh.
All right, so The Undertaker has come out, and he kind of wants to defend himself, and he's going to point out that, you know, it's true. It's true. I challenged you for the world title, but I did it like a man. I did it in the ring. I did it with respect for you and where you brought yourself. Maybe it's old school, but I still respect what the world title stands for. And however plausible McMahon's conspiracy is, you know, it's a damn lie. You know, there's something you need to know before I go down there and remove your head from the rest of your body. You will never, ever be able to manipulate The Undertaker in the mind of The Undertaker. That's what Undertaker has to say to McMahon. So, pretty cool. Undertaker's getting pretty good at the mic now that he's not just totally the dead man Undertaker, like, oh, rest in peace. He's actually, he actually has the ability to cut a decent promo.
Yeah. Does a satisfactory job.
Yeah. If I had to compare it to somebody modern day, I would say it's kind of like a Roman Reigns promo.
I knew you were going to say Roman Reigns.
Did you?
I knew it. I fucking knew it. I knew it. So I'm like, that's who he's going to compare him to, because they're both stars, and they both, in my opinion, weren't really good on the mic.
Right. Yeah,
I don't know. They never did it for me.
He has those instances where he says some cool things, but overall, the delivery's not great, but it's okay
it's a good
enough.
Comparison, but I just knew you were going to say it. Like, I kind of agree with it.
So from there, the lights go out. So the Undertaker doesn't, cut much of a promo there, but the lights go out. Kane's music's going to hit. Kane and Mankind appear on the ramp. Paul Bearer has the mic. He's going to talk a little bit. One notable thing here is, though, you got Mankind wearing the white button-down and tie for the first time. Now, I'm not positive. I don't remember now, but I'm not sure if he wore it last week when he came surprise attack Austin. And it would make sense if he did, because it would have been kind of funny that he came out to the black tie affair with a tie and black tie and attacked Austin during the black tie affair. So I don't remember for sure, but I'll go with that. So maybe he wore it last week, but we're seeing it here clear as day, right on the stage, that he's wearing the outfit that Mankind will become known to wear from this point forward.
Yep.
Which is kind of strange, though, that he would just keep wearing that. Maybe he didn't like the other outfit anymore. Maybe he felt like it was not, he didn't give a shit about what his body looks like. So,
well, he probably got bored of wearing. I don't know, because he technically doesn't he have the rest of that brown suit underneath? He just put
it's
a shirt
underneath
over like the rest of his spandex.
Right.
So, maybe he thought it made him stand out a little more.
Yeah,
maybe because Corporate Dude made him so crazy that's like a remnants of Corporate Dude.
Yeah,
he wears the tie.
Right, he's like all fucked up. He's all mixed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably what it is.
I don't know. I wonder if we'll have to look to see if he's ever kind of mentioned why he went with the shirt.
I never read his book, but he maybe mentions it in there.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a really good book too. Books, right. I think. He's written 2 books. Has he not?
At least 2 books.
Yeah, I heard he's I've heard he's a really good writer. So
I have to
that's cool.
Pick a copy up.
Yeah.
All right, so he's wearing that shirt. It's pretty cool. Paul Bearer is claiming that McMahon had nothing to do with the plan. McMahon is exonerated from this. He had nothing to do with it. But Bearer claims that the plan was made with the Undertaker. So Paul Bearer and the Undertaker made this plan together. Paul Bearer is trying to get the heat off of Vince McMahon, saying McMahon's not part of this at all. It's me and Undertaker. So now Undertaker has to defend himself with Paul Bearer now.
Yep.
Well, to Austin, but he has to kind of go against what Paul Bearer is saying. So Paul Bearer is claiming that he made the plan with him. He's going to challenge Undertaker and Austin to a match. It's going to be a match in the Hell in a Cell. So Paul Bearer challenged Undertaker and Steve Austin to face Mankind and Kane in the Hell in a Cell on a Raw, which is fucking cool. On a Monday Night Raw. Hell in a Cell match. And there had only been one Hell in a Cell prior, and that was the awesome Hell in a Cell match from Bad Blood with Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. And then he cuts off the promo with, "Congratulations, you are standing at the entrance to the Highway of Hell." I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
Because that's what SummerSlam is going to be called. It's, SummerSlam Highway to Hell. All right, then we got one last little promo prior to this match, this big main event match. It's a Hell in a Cell, Austin and Undertaker versus Mankind and Kane. You'll probably be a little disappointed if you go back and watch it, because it's not totally a Hell in a Cell match. But, that's how Raw is. They're trying to hype it up and get people to stay tuned in and watch it, and then it doesn't really actually happen. But you got a little promo here with Austin backstage with Michael Cole. And it's only about 30 seconds, so take a listen to that right now.
Well, folks, I'm back here with Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Steve, if I could just have a quick word, I'm going to ask you the same question which was posed to The Undertaker, and that being, can you trust The Undertaker?
Stone Cold Steve Austin doesn't trust anybody, and that's the bottom line. That's just the way it is with me.
Can The Undertaker trust Stone Cold Steve Austin?
He just said he wanted my belt, so no. He can't trust Stone Cold Steve Austin because he wants what's mine, and he ain't going to get it.
All right, so real quick little promo there backstage. I just wanted to point out that Austin doesn't trust The Undertaker. He doesn't trust anybody, DTA. We know that already. But he just wants to point out to The Undertaker, I don't trust you. You shouldn't trust me. You want my belt, so don't trust me either. So even though they're partners, I don't trust you, and you shouldn't trust me either. So now that brings us to the Hell in a Cell match, and that's going to start at the 1 hour, 29 minute, 39 second mark. And what you have just prior to the match is Kane and Mankind are going to win the first ever tag team Royal Rumble. They get a title shot. So they have a match just before, and I thought it was weird because I'm watching it, previewing for the show, and then this match was announced, the Hell in a Cell match, and then I get to this Royal Rumble, tag team Royal Rumble that they didn't talk about all night on the show. And then Kane and Undertaker come out. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Aren't they supposed to be in the main event? Why are they in this match? So anyway, they're in that Royal Rumble, and they win it. And we also get a nice little promo by Mankind. And he's going to talk about King of the Ring. He's going to talk about the Hell in a Cell match.
Awesome promo.
Yep. So it was good that they brought that up because there hadn't been much hype for Undertaker versus Mankind yet in the Hell in a Cell. So you got a nice little promo there. And then Paul Bearer doesn't think that Austin and Undertaker are going to accept the challenge, but Austin's music hits. They're out there waiting for the match to start, and nobody comes out for a while, so that's why Paul Bearer's like, oh, they're not coming out. Austin's music hits. And then the Undertaker doesn't come out for a little while. So you just have Austin out there. Mankind runs at Austin outside the cage. And then the match officially begins. You get the bell rung. And Kane's going to exit the cell. So you have everybody outside of the cell. So you got a Hell in a Cell match. Yep. Nobody's in the Hell in a Cell. So Hell is outside the cell at this point. And Paul Bearer is in the cell, though, actually. And he's going to lock himself in the cell.
Yep.
And Austin's battling Mankind, Kane, and Undertaker's going to rip through the bottom of the ring. So that's why the Undertaker didn't show up, because he was under the ring. He comes popping out like Freddy Krueger coming out of a waterbed to go kill some teenager.
That is one. Yeah, that's a good one. Which Nightmare on Elm Street is that?
That's
is that the first one?
No, the first one. First one he comes right out from the bed, or the bed. Johnny Depp gets sucked into the bed in the first one.
Yeah, like the bottom gives out, and it's like the depths of hell or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's similar, but in the fourth one, it's Joey, who was in the third movie, The Dream Warriors, the kid that didn't talk. He survives part 3, and he's in part 4, and he has this poster of like a girl in a bikini, and he's like falling asleep, and then he starts to see her like underneath in his waterbed. She's like floating around naked in his waterbed. So you got the tits all pressed up against the waterbed, and he's like looking down at it, and then all of a sudden she turns into Freddy, and Freddy pops up and rips through the bed.
Yeah, I remember that.
Pulls him into the water.
Like the nurse or something too, like one of the workers or something?
Well, in part 3, the Dream Warriors, that same kid Joey is a patient in the psych ward or whatever that they're at, and
yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
And the nurse is always smiling at him, and he's like getting all horny about her. And then one time, he falls asleep, and the nurse is there, and he thinks she starts stripping for him, and then she spits out like 4 tongues.
Yeah,
and then it's Freddy, but he survives.
Yeah, I watched that scene a lot as a kid.
Yeah, so did I.
But before the tongues and all that.
But that was some nice 80s tits.
Hell yeah.
Man, see, those are the things we remembered as a kid because you barely ever got to see that shit.
Yeah, right.
It stands out.
Well, kids nowadays, they just fucking go on the internet.
Yeah,
it's like, okay.
They can look at anybody.
Easy. It's easy now.
Right.
We used to have to like fucking game plan and figure out.
Yeah, no shit. But they could just go on YouPorn and watch some amateurs that probably live down the street from them giving a blowjob.
Yeah. Fucking spoiled.
Oh, man. All right. No, it's better in the past because you had to do work,
Yeah, it felt that much more rewarding.
Right. Now it's just like,
let me open my smartphone. Or it's easy.
There's no appreciation for that shit anymore.
Yeah. They fucking throw it on you on the internet. It's probably one of the most profitable things on the fucking internet.
All right, so let's get back to Undertaker and move away from Freddy Krueger and titties. So we got another dead man. Yeah, Freddy Krueger is dead, but now we're back to the real dead man here, the Undertaker. So he rips through the bottom of the ring, and he goes after Paul Bearer. He kicks the living shit out of Paul Bearer. gonna bust his ass open. But meanwhile, you have Mankind and Kane trying to get back in the cage. But eventually, Kane climbs to the top of the cage, and Austin and Mankind are going at it on the ramp. Kane is on top of the cage, like trying to rip through, get in.
Yeah, trying to rip through the mesh of the steel.
Yep. And he wants to try to save Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer, like I said, is busted open. Austin's gonna whack Mankind with the belt, and then he's gonna run down. He's gonna climb up to the cage and get on top. So you got Kane and Austin on top of the cage. But just prior to that, though, Austin's gonna whack Mankind with the chair shot right to the face. Fucking hellacious chair shot. That happens at 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 40 seconds. That was pretty damn brutal.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's funny about it too is Austin actually goes to pick up Mankind. And my theory is I think Mankind actually tells him, like, no, go back and get the chair or use the chair. Because he goes to pick Mankind up before he's with the chair, and then kind of like puts Mankind down, goes back to the chair, picks up the chair, and as Mankind's getting up, he just like cracks it. And it looks like fucking Mankind's head's going to like fly off.
Oh, shit.
It almost looks like Rocky, like Sylvester Stallone choreographed that because the way it just fucking hits, but it looks like he really fucking like he takes that shit probably a lot harder than he expected he was.
Yeah, that was fucking brutal.
Yeah, that's one of the best chair shots I had ever seen.
Mick Foley could just make everything seem so great.
Just the way he takes it across the chin, he just kind of like it's incredible.
Because it's like he's actually.
I'm sure he really took it across the chin.
Because he's really taking the shot.
It's like fuck. I can feel that one.
All right, so that leads us now to Austin and Kane going at it on top of the cage, and that's how the show ends. But on the WWE Network, if you're watching it, it's going to go on, and you're going to get extra attitude. So basically what happens is Austin and Kane are fighting on the cage still. They gradually make their way down at this point. Taker and Mankind are fighting inside the cage. Taker follows Kane up the ramp. Kane's going to go off. And then Taker's going to follow Kane. So they just kind of get out of the picture. And then you get Stone Cold giving Mankind a stunner. Austin gets the 3 count. And Taker and Austin actually win the match. So we get to see a winner. As on the live broadcast, they just kind of cut away from it, and you're left thinking, well, was this a match or what? And it actually was a match, and it finished after the show. So they gave it to us in the extra attitude. That was pretty cool.
Yep.
All right, this now brings us to the side notes for this episode of Raw, and you got some more King of the Ring qualifying matches. You had The Rock versus Vader. Rock's going to win with some help with Mark Henry. Mark Henry's going to come down and attack Vader. Well, the ref's not looking, and then Vader's going to be weakened in the ring. The Rock's going to get the cover there. Okay, you got a pretty good match here. Is X-Pac versus Triple H. Okay, all throughout the night, DX is doing different little skits about the match coming up between X-Pac and Triple H, and I'm just thinking the whole time, well, this match isn't going to happen. I don't remember this match. And they actually had a match. This is X-Pac's in-ring return, and maybe that was partly planned. It was set up to be that way. Maybe because X-Pac had been out for so long that he wanted to work with Triple H to just be safe, maybe? I don't know. That's just a thought I had.
I mean, when I was watching it, I like leading up to the match, I didn't think it was going to happen because I forgot that it actually happens.
No, so did I. But looking back at it now, because X-Pac's coming off an injury, I thought maybe he requested to go up against Triple H because he wasn't sure of his abilities yet in the ring, maybe.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
He wanted to work with somebody he's comfortable with instead of just a random person.
Yeah, like more of a safety concern.
Right.
On Xbox part.
Yeah.
Nope, I get it.
So they actually have a pretty good match for a little while. But prior to the match, though, you got X-Pac. Like I said, he gets his own special custom DX music. But the one thing I noticed about Triple H, and this is probably the first time that he does this, he comes out with water, he sips it, and then he does that little spit into the air with all the mist of the water for the first time. And that becomes a major trademark of his entrances down the road. But he does it here for the first time. When they get in the ring, they show unity with each other. They're doing crop chops together. And then just out of nowhere, X-Pac tries to roll up Triple H, and then it's like, oh, cool, they're actually trying to go at it with each other. So I thought it was a pretty cool match for what it was. But then you have The Rock come down. He's going to interrupt, and his interruption is pretty damn great because you got a lot of classic Rock lines being heard for pretty much the first time all together. He may have said some of these things here and there, but it's all put together. He says, when The Rock gets a hold of your candy ass, he's going to lay the smackdown on you. And I tell you what, if you really want to smell what The Rock is cooking, turn around and take a whiff. And then you get an attack from Owen Hart on X-Pac. So that was pretty damn cool. He kind of put all the sayings together, and that's what he continues to do from that point on. So we're getting, the beginning of a lot of great moments or great character development here. If you wanted to hear that happens at 55-minute mark and 50 seconds, and it goes for about a minute. We'll play it for you because it's pretty damn cool. So take a listen to that right now.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey. What The Rock wants you to do is check out the People's Champ. That's right, yeah. Up here, Bozo.
I hear him, but
exactly.
I don't know where.
I'll tell you what.
Up there.
When you beat The Rock.
Oh, okay.
When you beat The Rock 2 weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, he laid on his back strictly for pleasure. And I'll tell you what else, it was all part of a master plan. But when The Rock gets a hold of your candy ass, he's going to lay the smackdown on you. And I'll tell you what, if you really want to smell what The Rock is cooking, turn around and take a whiff.
Well, X-Pac has hurt his knee here, folks.
Yeah, good job there, Einstein.
Owen Hart just attacked him? What?
All right, so there you have some pretty cool shit from The Rock interrupting the Triple H and X-Pac match. And at that point now, you have the first round established for the King of the Ring, which is going to start next week on Raw, which, hate that shit. King of the Ring tournament, first round on Raw. Just have it all in one damn night.
Yep,
King of the Ring.
all one night.
So the first round shakes out to be Shamrock versus Henry, Mero versus Double J, The Rock versus Triple H again, which is cool. They've had some decent matches in the past few weeks. And then you get Dan Severn versus Owen Hart in the first round of King of the Ring, which will be the following week. You do have some issues with Mark Mero and Double J. They have a first round match next week, so they're having some little conflict, heel versus heel shit going on. But what I really liked about it, and I kind of like this gimmick. I don't know how you feel about it, but the Godwins are back, and they're Southern Justice.
Yeah, I don't like them.
You don't like them? Well, they haven't wrestled or anything yet, but they look better than pig farmers, though, in my mind.
Yeah, they're like glorified bodyguards.
Yeah, they're just bodyguards, but Henry Godwin looks like Kenny Powers from Eastbound and Down. What's his name? Danny McBride. He looks just like Danny McBride. He's got like the hair slicked back mullet, sunglasses on. I could just picture Henry Godwin saying, "You're fucking out. I'm fucking in."
They probably would have went a lot further if they had that.
Yeah.
If they had Kenny Powers' fucking attitude.
I still got Al Snow kicking around here, and he's doing something different every week. This week was funny because he comes out as Avatar. He was the wrestler Avatar back in like 95. Like a high flyer with a mask, and he comes out wearing the mask. He has head wearing the Avatar mask, and just pretty funny. And he just mentions like, McMahon, he tried to kill my career with Aldo Montoya looking gimmick. It's just funny that he compared Avatar to Aldo Montoya because they both came out around the same time, and they both had like the the light colored pastel type colored masks. Like the baby blue, the yellow type mask, right around the same time. So it's funny that he brought him up. And also, at that time, Aldo Montoya was getting over in ECW as Just Incredible.
Yep, Just Incredible, yeah. Great name.
Yeah. Just Incredible.
Yep.
All right, so earlier in the night, they did have that Tag Team Royal Rumble that I mentioned. We have Kane and Mankind win. They're going to get a title shot against the New Age Outlaws at some point, apparently. And that's about it. So was there anything else that you wanted to bring up before we move on to the last Raw of our episode?
Just on the Xbox Triple H stuff. Leading up to the match, it was cool the stuff they were doing behind the scenes, like in the locker room and shit, almost matching it up, hyping up as match of the year and kind of setting China up as the enforcer.
That's right.
So it was a good build up to the match, and then the match itself was good, and the ending was actually a well written ending that played out perfectly. And then it was able to kind of still keep DX strong. Like it only really made them stronger. Like they showed they were willing to sacrifice to see the other get better if it wasn't gonna work out for them. You know what I mean? They were in it for DX.
Yeah, and they were able to show their bond.
X-Pac or Triple H. Yeah.
Yeah. They could still compete, but they would have a bond with each other in the end still.
Yep.
And it was good because, like you said, they showed backstage throughout the night, so it kept them as kind of a main focus, even though it was just a King of the Ring qualifying match that they were a part of.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I mean, just having them wrestle each other was interesting enough. But the fact that they kind of showed them game planning behind the stage and behind the scenes and badass Billy Gunn giving like pep talks, and it was good stuff.
Yeah. All right. Ready to move on to Raw 265?
Yes, sir.
All right. Raw 265 is coming from Austin, Texas. All right, Stone Cold's backyard. So that's a big thing. They even said it last week, too, when they were in San Antonio. I don't think I mentioned that it was in San Antonio, Texas. But, yeah, that's where they were the previous week. But here on June 22nd, 1998, they're in Austin, Texas. This is the go-home show to King of the Ring. And it starts off with Mr. McMahon and Kane. Kane's going to break his silence for the first time in 20 years. This is fucking funny. Take a listen.
Here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the next World Wrestling Federation champion. I give you Kane.
Here he comes, walking right through hellfire and brimstone. And is this going to be the opportunity that we have awaited throughout the weekend, where Kane will break his silence of approximately 20 years? Paul Bearer was decimated last week by The Undertaker, and there you see via satellite Paul Bearer from his home as his son Kane, who many people believe will indeed be the next WWF champion. And we'll know that answer conclusively this Sunday on pay-per-view from the King of the Ring.
And it couldn't have been a pleasant Father's Day for Kane yesterday. He must be emotionally distraught after seeing Paul Bearer attacked by The Undertaker last week.
Another thunderous Austin chant.
This Sunday, Kane, when you face Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF Championship, this, Kane, will be the greatest day of your life. Gone forever will be all those days of torment. A childhood that was nothing short of a living hell. The excess baggage you've carried with you in the manhood. The excess baggage of rejection, of ridicule, of scorn and abuse. Those days, Kane, will be gone. Gone forever. Because this Sunday, you'll take your place in that rarefied air. You'll take your place. Those few great people who've overcome all odds to become a champion. This Sunday, Kane, when you become the WWF champion, this, Kane, is your destiny.
Strong motivation from the owner of this organization.
No force on earth can stop destiny. No man can stop destiny. Not even Stone Cold Steve Austin. In Austin, as Kane stands before you here tonight, he dedicates this title match to his father, Paul Bearer, and furthermore, Austin challenges you like you've never been challenged in your life, Austin. Because Kane, this Sunday, challenges you, Austin, to a match that's never been held before here in the World Wrestling Federation. No, never in history. A match in which there's no such thing as a pinfall. There's no such thing as a submission. As far as a countout is concerned, that doesn't exist either. A disqualification won't even count. No. Kane challenges you, Austin, to a match in which clearly the winner will be the man who draws first blood on his opponent.
Wow. What does he mean?
First blood.
That's right, Austin. A first blood match. And Austin, how confident are you? Yeah. That's all right. Well then, how confident is Stone Cold Steve Austin that he's going to retain this WWF Championship, huh? How confident is Austin? I'll tell you how confident Kane is. Kane is so confident that he will offer in writing a special provision in the contract that states the following. Kane, if you would speak publicly for the first time, what does the contract further state?
The title, I will set myself on fire.
What is he?
So confident is Kane that if he does not become the World Wrestling Federation champion this Sunday, he will set himself on fire and breathe his last breath.
This crowd is stunned, and so are we. I can't believe this. Will Austin accept the first blood challenge? And I can't believe what Kane has prophesied. If Kane doesn't win the WWF title, he will set himself on fire and breathe his last breath. And obviously an upset and distraught Paul Bearer is hearing this as we are for the very first time.
And Kane said it with such confidence. Mr. McMahon repeated what Kane said. He will set himself on fire if he does not win the WWF Championship this Sunday.
All right, so Mr. McMahon is going to come out. He's going to introduce. But now looking back at it, it's pretty funny knowing what is to come. He points out, you're now going to see the next World Wrestling Federation champion, Kane. And just where this is going, it's crazy. Because he's just telling everybody, this is what it is, the next World Wrestling Federation champion, Kane. And he mentions that Kane is going to break his silence for the first time in 20 years. He even has this voice modulator or distorter clipped into his waistband.
Yeah, so whack.
Yeah. And McMahon saying, Stone Cold can't stop destiny. He's going to be the champion, and Austin and Kane will have a first blood match. And Kane will accept the following provision to go along with it. So Kane gets on the mic, gets this little voice modulator out, puts it up against his neck. I will set myself on fire. So if he doesn't win the championship, he's going to set himself on fire. And I was watching this part when I was taking notes. I was watching it with my wife. And she was like, what the hell? This is so fucking ridiculous. And she was like, I set myself on fire.
Yeah, it's wet. Like, and his breath is his last breath. It's like, so you're pretty much saying this guy's going to kill himself on TV by burning himself alive. Yeah. Like, yeah. Guy's going to commit suicide.
And, yeah, when you hear Kane talking, you just got to think of, like, the commercials, you know, the cigarette smokers.
Yeah.
You know,
like shit, should have stopped smoking.
Yeah.
Or shit, shouldn't have been around that secondhand smoke.
Yeah.
Because there's that commercial too. And I wasn't even a smoker. It's like,
I'll set myself on fire and I fall asleep next to my cigarette.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so
it's funny, but it worked. It's funny.
Yeah,
so that's what it was. They went in. It was like the Jerry Springer part that WWE kind of had to him a little bit. Where they kind of had to go a little too over the top.
Yeah, but I mean, they could have just had Kane use like, I'm Batman type voice or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, Kane. The voice he ends up using anyway, you know? Could have just gone with that, but I guess it stands out as being like, oh, he can't speak unless he has this thing.
Yeah.
Because his voice is so fucked up.
And then obviously, as we know, we end up hearing him speak.
Yeah.
And he's actually speaks very, like, he's very punctual and stuff.
Right. And he's like the mayor. So,
yeah.
of,
Like, oh, this Glenn
Knoxville
Jacobs
County.
guy's actually, like, damn, this guy's intelligent.
You can't be tall and intelligent, that tall and intelligent.
Yeah, right. You're supposed to be a dumb, tall glue.
Yeah. Or as The Rock would call him later, not PC today, but you'd call him the big red retard.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's I wonder if they like edited that shit out or if they just left it in.
That word they might, because I know that's like
that's big.
That's
now,
a tough word.
Yeah.
Yeah, not funny story, but ironic. Because you use that term word loosely sometimes and you slip. You know. And one time I did, and it was like, it was someone that was offended by it, that was kind of touched by it.
Yeah.
So there's no way that other make you feel like shit than that happening.
You're right. Yeah. It's like other things when we were younger that we used to say that doesn't mean the way we're using them.
We're not going to get into those. But,
right. But, yeah. But different time. Now we know.
Yeah, it's just the thing. Times.
Well, it's not only just
sometimes
time.
for that stuff. It's for the better, something like that.
Right. And a lot of times it's not even just time. It's you're a fucking dumbass kid, and you didn't get it. You don't have.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about other people. You're being a dickhead, basically.
Yeah,
you're being a dickhead without knowing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Who The Rock is now, I don't think he would use that now, even on TV. No way.
Yeah.
And he shouldn't. You know what I mean? It's the right decision not to, regardless if he's this movie star or not. And it's just things change.
Or even then, you got to remember they're not. That's not really them. They're acting.
Yeah.
So it could have just been part of his character
That's true.
to say stuff like that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so let's now get into some of the show here. And I'll say right up front that there's not a whole lot of Austin. But, Kane is the main thing that they're going towards here. Kane versus Stone Cold. So Kane is a big part of this show. And Kane has a match against the Road Dogg, which basically is a squash match. Road Dogg gets his shit kicked out of him. Kane's going to give him a nice flying clothesline from the top rope. It leads to a chokeslam and a tombstone, so easy peasy. But you got Paul Bearer at home. Paul Bearer's watching it at home because he's beat up. He's beat up from The Undertaker from the Hell in a Cell. So he's just watching on from home. And what you're going to have, though, is while he's watching his boy Kane, his son, which is still ridiculous. He's watching his son on the TV. And then out of nowhere, you hear a scream in the background. Paul Bearer's wife, I suppose. And the Undertaker has broken into Paul Bearer's home. He says, "What, do you think I forgot where you lived?" And he beats the shit out of him. This is happening at the 53-minute mark of the episode. And then,
he really beats the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Too. Like,
well, actually, the Undertaker got injured too. Because when he was throwing shit down, something landed on his foot, and he ended up injuring his foot doing this. And at King of the Ring during the Hell in a Cell match, he was injured throughout that, with his foot all fucked up. So, little side note there. You have the feed get lost, so you start to see the TV get a little staticky, like fake staticky, like back in 1996 in October when Steve Austin busted into Pillman's house. You got that bullshit static, and he knew it was, it was bullshit because it still said like USA and WWF in the corner. It was all clear, but you got that same thing here. So, kind of like a reboot of the Pillman home invasion here. Is you have Undertaker breaking into Paul Bearer's home.
I agree with you there.
Then you got Kane. He's all pissed off and distraught, throwing shit around the locker room because his dad just got beat up by Undertaker. Mankind's trying to calm him down. He's saying, Uncle Paul's going to be all right. Uncle Paul. Uncle Paul was always funny because it didn't make any sense, really. It's just...
Uncle Paulie.
Yeah. Hey, Paulie. Rocky.
Anytime I hear the name Paul, I just think Paulie.
Paulie.
From Rocky.
Yeah. The shitty brother. Adrian shitty brother.
Sometimes I question myself.
All right, so now you get one more nice promo by Mankind to kind of build up to the Hell in Cell again. Definitely check it out. It's at 1 hour, 19 minutes. What I love about Mick Foley's promos, or Mankind's promos, is that they keep playing the music behind them. It just like builds up the drama and the suspense when they just keep playing that Mankind music behind it, and it just gets all worked up. And that music is like nerve-wracking as it is. To have him like kind of freaking out just makes it very unsettling. So definitely a cool touch. And while I'm on the topic of his music, I always thought it was weird that after he would win a match, the music was different. You notice that? They don't play that music like the traditional Mankind music. It becomes more like a slow piano.
Yes. Yep. I didn't realize. I've noticed they've played it, but I never really noticed if there was a reason why they played it. Like they only played it when he won.
Yeah, it's like only after his matches when he wins. Yep. So yeah, that just stood out to me. And that actually happens later in the night when Mankind beats Billy Gunn. So Mankind's going to beat Billy Gunn with the Mandible Claw. You get the different music after, the piano music. And right after Mankind's match, he runs back to go check in on Kane, and Kane's no longer in the locker room. So where is he gone? And this kind of brings us to the end of the episode. We haven't seen Stone Cold all night, but Austin's going to come out. And this is at the 1 hour, 30-minute mark. And it's going to go for about 5 minutes. So take a listen to this Austin promo that's leading up to the King of the Ring match against Kane, the first blood match. So take a listen. It's going to be a bloodbath.
What? Stone Cold Steve Austin!
Well, Sable's going to conduct this interview and listen to this ovation. For this Sunday's WWF title match at the King of the Ring on pay-per-view. Or will he check it out, JR? Right here in front of the Warhol. There's not a yellow bone in his body. And look at this. What an ovation here in Austin, Texas. Oh, yeah, sure. What do you expect? Bunch of redneck Texans. They love a beer-guzzling goof like Stone Cold. Look at this.
I know you're not out here by yourself just for no reason. There's got to be something going on, and I'm going to tell you right now what I want you to do, and I don't know if you've ever done this before, but I want you to go right back there and give Vince McMahon a message. What you do is you take your little finger and you stick that one up just like that.
Look!
And when you see Vince McMahon, stick that in his face and tell him this bird is from Stone Cold.
Now, what kind of a message, JR, is that to teach a lady like Sable? That's disgusting.
You say I'm a marked man. Well, hell, if I am a marked man, I ain't hard to find. So if there's anybody out here
watch it
playing around under the ring, All you got to do is come on out here because Stone Cold Steve Austin is ready to beat somebody's ass.
I thought he was coming over here for a minute. Where's Kane? That's what I want to know. Where is Kane?
I want to know if you're going to accept the challenge, Austin. Are you chicken?
To Kane, I say this. I accept your little stipulations on your match.
Accept!
I'll accept any kind of match you want to throw at Stone Cold Steve Austin because I've bled before. I ain't afraid to bleed again. But when you put this son of a bitch on the line...
He accepted, JR. Yeah, I knew that he would. He's not going to back away.
Your big dead ass belongs to Stone Cold Steve Austin.
We'll see about that.
Oh, it's going to be nasty in Pittsburgh on pay-per-view. First blood.
Let me tell you something. You say that if you don't win the WWF title, you'll set yourself on fire.
He said it.
I'll tell you something right now. If you're dumb enough to set your ass on fire in this ring, you can bet your bottom dollar that Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to bring all the marshmallows, all the hot dogs, and all the beer.
You're going to make a picnic?
It don't make a damn to me. You can be the human campfire, and I'll sit around and watch you burn all day long. And if you start to go out, you can rest assured that old Stone Cold will be right there to throw another log on the fire.
Oh, God! There he is!
Here we go!
It's Kane! These two may not wait until this Sunday night.
Here we go!
At the King of the Ring.
You saw the fire, Stone Cold. Get ready for some more of it.
What's Kane going to do now? He's going to come down here and fight.
More fire.
Austin is ready to fight here.
Oh, good. What?
What the hell is that?
Look at this!
My God, what is that? Austin is covered. What is that?
Oh my God! Austin standing in a pool of... Look.
Austin, this Sunday the blood on you will be for real.
He just said this Sunday the blood on you will be for real. Wow! What else does this monster... Oh, God! What else does he have in store for the WWF champion?
This is going to be something, JR. This Sunday, you got a preview right there of what Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to look like.
All right, so there you had it. There's the bloodbath. Let's go right back to the beginning. Who introduces Stone Cold Steve Austin to the crowd? Sable. So Sable must have been, pretty impressed with his manners last week. So she's going to come out. She's going to introduce Sable again. And Austin's going to come out. We got a new shirt alert. And not a traditional T-shirt, but we got the Austin 316 baseball jersey with Stone Cold on the back and 316 as his number.
Which is pretty. It's a pretty crisp looking jersey.
Yeah. Pinstripes. Pretty cool.
Yeah. They look like White Sox pinstripes, not those scumbag Yankee.
Yeah, not the Yankee ones. Fuck the Yankee ones.
Yeah, those Yankee pinstripes are so ugly compared to the White Sox ones. No?
Or even like the Florida Marlin ones.
Yeah, those are so classy. But for some reason, those Yankee pinch, I don't know if it's the spacing or the thickness of the stripes themselves, but they just look so trashy.
Damn Yankees. All right, so Stone Cold comes out. He's going to tell Sable to send the message to Vince McMahon. He grabs her hand, and then he makes her peg a finger. And she's like all giddy about it, like, ha ha ha.
And they fucking blur it out.
Yeah, well, because it's a taped episode. So all the tape shit is always blurred or beeped out. Like, if they say ass, it's always bleeped out on taped episodes.
Yep.
But if it's live, they just let it fly. I don't know why. If USA Network's going to let it fly live, why wouldn't they just let it fly taped?
It's probably not a network thing. It's probably, what is it, the FCC?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Might be their thing. I'm sure there must be some like code or like.
Yeah, maybe if it's live, bullshit. Then okay. But you know, if you have time to fix it,
if it's fucking taped, yeah,
right, yeah. I get that. Probably is what it is then. Sable comes out with a bodysuit looking all kinds of good in that bodysuit.
Yeah, great.
Man, I don't. And I know I loved Sable back then, but I don't think I appreciate her as much as I do now.
No, I agree, 110%.
Yeah,
I feel the same exact way.
Yeah, I kind of thought like maybe at the time, like she was too old, like because Sunny looked young, and I knew noticeably that Sable was older. So
older, yeah.
As a 15-year-old, I was like, I knew she was hot, whatever. She got the curves, she got the tits, she got all that. But part of me was just like, she's older. But now, being 36, looking back, and she's younger than my age at this point, it's like, yeah. 30-something-year-old right there.
The guy had experience.
I got a different appreciation for her in my older years, yeah.
I agree, man. I agree with you. I've thought the same thing.
So definitely a nice bodysuit there. All right, so let's get back into it. Stone Cold says, "You say I'm a marked man? Well, ain't hard to find." He used that line not too long ago. Just go back to our episode 19, Marked Man, from January of '98, and Stone Cold's going to use a similar line there when he's the marked man in the Royal Rumble. Everybody's coming after him, so he's going to go after everybody else first. Mm-hmm. That cool little storyline they had going for the Royal Rumble. But Stone Cold's like, yeah, I'm ready to beat somebody's ass tonight. And Austin's going to accept the stipulations. He says, I've bled before, but the thing is on the line. So my title is on the line, and that means your big dead ass belongs to Stone Cold Steve Austin. You say, if you don't win, you'll set yourself on fire. I'll tell you something right now. If you're dumb enough to set your ass on fire in the ring, you can bet your bottom dollar that Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to bring some marshmallows, all the hot dogs, all the beer. And you could be a human campfire, and I'll sit down and watch you burn all day. And if you start to go out, rest assured, you can count on Stone Cold on throwing another log on the fire. That was fucking awesome. That whole line there.
Yeah, I'm glad he addresses that. Like, dude, you're gonna light yourself on fire?
What are you, fucking idiot?
You idiot. Yeah. I'm glad.
It's funny, when you're watching that scene if you go back and watch that, guys, if you watch that part, you got people in the front row like going nuts once he says like the marshmallows and the hot dogs. They're like, yeah, burn the motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what they're like. And then Kane, after he says that about, throwing the log on the fire, Kane comes out. He stands there at the top of the ramp. He raises his arms, and you're just wondering, like, well, what's he going to do? Just, like, set the fire? He's going to make the fire explode from the corners. But this time, it's something a little different. You're going to get the blood just drop right down on Austin. And it's great because he's wearing the white jersey. Yep. So then the white jersey gets all soaked, which would have been a different effect if he had just a black Stone Cold shirt on.
Yeah, it really stands out because he's wearing white.
Right. So that was probably a choice that they made.
Yeah.
Okay.
The blue soaks in. If he would have had no shirt on, even his vest on, the leather vest wouldn't have absorbed the blood as much.
Right.
And it would have just kind of rolled off his skin a little more.
No, I said that's like a new shirt alert, but I don't think it is. I think that shirt had been around for a little while. He never wore it because that's not the traditional kind of shirt he would wear. So maybe
I agree.
Maybe he just decided, well, fuck this shirt. First off, it's white, so that helps. But
and it's a fucking baseball jersey, so they're charging like $60, and everyone's like, "Fuck that! It's not a T-shirt." And B, it's a fucking baseball jersey. I'm not buying that.
But maybe if you get it in this segment, people might want to buy it now. Like, oh, that's the shirt that he wore in a bloodbath.
I would go on a limb and say that wasn't. They didn't have strong sales to fucking baseball. The baseball jersey was the jersey when, like, nowadays, if the website had a sale, and it was like, it's buy one get one off, and it's like only these fucking shit. That's all the shitty shirts that they'll sell.
I don't want that shitty shirt.
Like, oh, I got my John Cena football jersey. Yeah. Like, no, sports jerseys and wrestling don't fucking work. Don't wear them. I don't want to see. If you wear them, I'm probably going to make a negative comment about you. Like, this idiot. He's got a fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin football jersey. Fucking stupid.
316.
Nice hockey jersey, bro. Hockey sweater, bro. Like, come on. Get a fucking t-shirt. Wrestling t-shirts. I'm getting wrestling jerseys.
Wrestling jerseys.
The Rock needs your... The Rock. We don't want your fans. Yeah, the Rock ones. The Brahma Bull, Team Bull. Like, get the fuck out of here. Just get the T-shirt with the Brahma Bull on it. All right, wrestling gets frowned upon by the majority of people as it is. You don't need people walking around in wrestling sports jerseys.
Yeah.
Like, just wear a fucking T-shirt.
That's like the lowest low of like the wrestling fans, I think.
Yeah. It's like, this guy's got a jersey on. Fuck.
Oh yeah. Good God. Let's move on.
Yeah.
All right, so you got Stone Cold standing there in a pool of blood, just dripping all over his face. He's staring out at Kane. He's covered in blood. And it's not real blood, obviously. It's some kind of shit blood. But apparently after this, Stone Cold may have gotten staph infection. He got staph infection, but he may have gotten it from this fake blood coming down. So he's going to be dealing with staph infection at the King of the Ring during the first blood match. And he's going to need some kind of surgery, I think, after that. Or some kind of treatment for it after. And some say that may have happened because of this. So that sucks.
Yeah.
But,
jeez.
So Kane gives one last message to Austin. He gets his voice modulator out. He says, Austin, this Sunday, the blood on you will be for real.
For real.
So I thought that was a cool segment. Something a little different that we haven't seen before. And it kind of...
I enjoyed it.
Puts Austin in a vulnerable spot that he's never really been in yet. Where, the joke's kind of on him. He got gacked.
Yeah. Right now, they're kind of trading that back and forth. Like one side gets the other. Actually, no. Stone Cold really hasn't gotten the upper hand, has he?
No, Stone Cold got thrown in the casket. Stone Cold got blood. Yeah. He's like gotten everything.
Blood dumped on him.
Yeah.
Only Undertaker kind of broke through the ring, so he's kind of breaking even. He got his revenge on Paul Bearer, but
Austin only got the stunner on Mankind, but he never got anything on Kane.
Yeah.
So Kane has the upper hand going into the World Championship match at King of the Ring the next week, which we'll be talking about on our next episode. But before we wrap up the show, let's go to the final side notes for this Raw from June 22nd, 1998, and that's the King of the Ring tournament. The first round starts. You have Ken Shamrock versus Mark Henry. Shamrock will advance after Vader attacks Mark Henry, who had attacked Vader last week, costing him his shot in the tournament. So now you have Ken Shamrock, and he has a fucked up tooth when they do a post-match interview with him. It's like broken. And I never noticed that. Maybe he has like a fake tooth in place of it, and maybe it fell out. But if you look back at that interview right after the match, his teeth are fucked up in the front. But, it makes sense that they are. He's a fighter. Then you got Mark Merrow against Double J. Jeff Jarrett's going to advance. After Sable comes out, just walks out, distracts Merrow. Merrow's not over her. She's pissing him off, and she loses. Well, he loses because of her. You got Dana B. Severn versus Owen Hart. Dan Severn's going to win by submission after X-Pac interferes. So you have a little conflict with X-Pac and Owen Hart going on. And that's going to continue on to King of the Ring. They're going to have a match at King of the Ring. You have The Rock versus Triple H, another decent match between the two. Okay, both future Hall of Famers. Definitely, they're not in the Hall of Fame yet, but they both will be, as we know. And they just had some matches the past couple of weeks. They had a pretty decent match on May 22nd. And here they have another pretty good match. And The Rock's going to advance. He's going to give a perfect plex to the Triple H, a fisherman suplex. And then eventually, after the match, DX and the Nation go at it in the ring. Al Snow's going to be dressed up as an old lady on this episode, and he's going to have a match with Brian Christopher and Scott Taylor, along with Head. So Head's going to be his partner. And when we talk about that next week, King of the Ring, it's such a fucking joke. Al Snow and Head versus Brian Christopher and Scott Taylor. I'm just going to spoil it now. Pin. Head's going to get pinned. But because he doesn't have shoulders, how are you going to pin the Head? You can't have his shoulders down.
Yeah, right.
And this is a Vince Russo idea, though. He said the only way you could pin Head is if you attach a bottle of Head and Shoulders to him. So they attach Head and Shoulders to him so that the shoulders, the bottle is down. That's the shoulders.
Oh, God.
So you got head and shoulders.
Yeah, let's not talk about this again next week, please.
Yeah, I guess this week was enough.
Yeah, we're going to leave that off next week's episode.
Yeah, but the last side note is Edge's debut. You said you liked this debut, so what did you got to say about it?
Me? I said I didn't like the
debut. Oh,
debut.
You didn't like it? Oh.
No. I thought it was silly that he won his first match by countout, but that was before, we had kind of discussed this before the show. I had mentioned, I was like, I'm like, that was stupid. But, you have the additional insight in that, if I'm not mistaken, after Edge jumps over the ropes and kind of lands on Jose Estrada, Jose Estrada actually really hits his head, like on the cement, snaps his head back, and he's legitimately hurt.
Not exactly like that. Edge does a Somerset plancha, and Edge's leg lands on his head rather than like on his shoulders. So kind of like takes a hard hit to his head, so it jolts his head and causes a neck injury onto Jose Estrada Jr. So he just falls down from there. He's basically out, can't move, and the ref decides to just count him out and the match. And you can see Edge visibly like, what the fuck's going on? What the hell happened? And he seems like pissed, like, because he knows he fucked up, and it was his first match, and he caused an injury in his very first match, just like minutes into it.
Yep.
And Edge leaves. He jumps over the guardrail and leaves through the crowd. And based on what Edge had to say, because this is in Edge's book, which I have, and Edge said in his book that he felt really bad about it, obviously, and it was his debut, and it was a horrible way to start his run, and he didn't want people thinking bad of him backstage, and he just wanted to do right by Jose Estrada, so he made sure to be in contact with Jose Estrada every week while he was out of action, just to give him support and let him know he's by his side, and he cares about him.
Being supportive. Yep.
Yeah. Right, which is a stand-up thing to do. Is to if you're part of an injury, you give your support, maybe even give gifts or whatever.
Yeah.
Just to let the person know you give a shit. So stand-up guy Edge seems to be there, but we know he won't be so stand-up in years to come when he's gonna steal Matt Hardy's girlfriend.
Yeah, right.
All right, so that concludes our episodes of Raw and our coverage for June of 1998. Next week we'll get into the King of the Ring, but before we get to finally closing up the show, we'll do a house show rundown, and you have a good amount of action going on. So from June 1st on Raw, that's the June 1st Raw that we covered last week, there was a dark match after the show. It was Stone Cold Steve Austin against The Rock, and Stone Cold won that. And then the following couple days later, June 3rd, in Hammond, Indiana, Steve Austin and Undertaker are going to defeat Kane and Mankind in a no-holds-barred match. On June 4th, 98, in Hartford, Connecticut, you get that very same result. June 5th, 1998, New York at Madison Square Garden, you get Steve Austin and The Undertaker defeat Kane and Mankind in a no-holds-barred match. So you get a lot of those going on here at this point. Same match at June 6th in Minneapolis, Minnesota. June 13th in Albuquerque, New Mexico, you get Steve Austin pinning Mankind in a one-on-one match. June 14th, 98 in Dallas, Texas. Same result. Steve Austin pins Mankind. Then you get a dark match on the June 16th, 98 from Austin, Texas, the Raw that we just covered. That actually airs on June 22nd. You had Steve Austin defeat Mankind at the end of the show. And then June 19th, in Houston, Texas, you get the same thing again, Steve Austin versus Mankind. So Steve Austin's fighting with Mankind or working with Mankind throughout the beginning of June, and Kane and The Undertaker are sprinkled in there here and there. So that's your house show rundown. Now let's move on to our oh hell no or an oh hell yeah moment. So let's start with oh hell yeah. JV, what do you got for an oh hell yeah?
Oh, it was a tough one, I had it between. I'm going to tell you which one didn't win for me, and that was the blood spot with the blood coming down and soaking Austin. So my hell yeah moment was the chair shot during the Hell in a Cell tag match, where which we spoke about earlier, where Austin takes the chair and cracks Mankind upside the side of his head.
That's a good one.
Which looks like, in my opinion, one of the better chair shots I've seen in recent memory.
Oh, it's freaking brutal, like we talked about. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Like, they got to go back and watch that.
Yeah. Well, this is an easy one for. I mean, it seems too easy, but I like the bloodbath. So hell yeah, is that bloodbath? Like I was saying when we just talked about it, that it's a situation that Austin's usually not in, where he's at the disadvantage, and it happened the week before, 2 weeks prior, when he gets put into the casket during the black tie affair. Speaking of that, close runner-up to my hell yeah moment is Steve Austin just coming out with a black tie. But I'll go with the bloodbath and Kane dropping the blood like it was Carrie.
And just
Stephen
to your
King's
point about how he's finally like in this weird spot, if you really think about it, ever since he had gotten Vince McMahon arrested, it's kind of been a real living hell for Austin. Like, I could be wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Cover this. Like I said, my short-term memory is terrible, but it seems like Vince or someone has had the upper hand on him since then.
Yeah, Vince is pretty much kicking it up a notch on trying to screw Stone Cold ever since he was embarrassed.
Yeah,
by getting arrested. Yeah. So it was from that point it was over the edge. Mankind, Dude Love, Corporate Dude lost, and McMahon kind of scaled it up the next night and became like a huge prick. And then you start to get this Undertaker, Kane, Mankind thing going on. Yeah. So kind of sticking it to Austin from that point on. So yeah, good observation. What about your oh hell no moments? What do you got?
Well, my oh hell no moment has actually got to be still Edge winning his first WWE match by countout. Even more hell no now knowing that the guy got hurt.
Yeah.
Jose Estrada. So that's my hell no moment of the week.
All right, that's a good one. My oh hell no moment of the week is actually Austin related. I just thought, I don't know, I didn't really like it. I guess it has its place in the storyline, but I just didn't care for the humanitarian award black tie affair. It did have a cool moment where Austin comes out with the tie, but other than that, it was just kind of blah to me.
Yeah, it was an average setup. I mean, the setup was cool as far as him, obviously Vince McMahon kind of sets up an ambush in a sense.
Right, and that's the payoff. So that's the good thing about it. Does set up.
Yeah, that's a good. It's the better payoff, but the setup, I'd agree with you there. It did fall flat.
Yeah, they had the black tie affair at the end of the episode, but they had that setup at the beginning. That first segment in the beginning kind of sucked to me. Even with George Martin and Darnell Autry, that whole thing kind of sucked.
The guy gave a good speech, but I mean, it's not. He didn't make that like. Just to be clear, I'm not saying that guy made that like this great thing. It just shocked at how a normal did on the a non wrestling talent did in his first
wrestling appearance. Yeah,
wrestling appearance. Like we see these guys come out, and they're awful. Not to continually bash these people they bring on TV that suck most of the time, but hey, sometimes you got to call it what it is.
Yeah.
And then guys like George Martin look like gold.
Hey, before you leave, hey!
All right, so what we have coming up on a Bottom Line Wrestling Cast next week, we have episode 28 for you. We're calling it First Blood. So we're covering the First Blood match from King of the Ring, but we'll also be covering
not Rambo.
Not Rambo. And what else is First Blood? There's another First Blood. Oh, isn't it like Friday the 13th? Isn't there First Blood?
Yeah, there is.
Or is it New Blood? Maybe it's New Blood, not First Blood.
There's New Blood. It's not First. Because First Blood's I always associate with Rambo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. All right, so next week we'll be covering King of the Ring. We're going to be covering the match, Kane versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, the First Blood match. And then we'll cover the following night, June 29th on Raw. And then we'll also cover the July 6th, 1998 Raw, heading into July. And we'll also be doing a watch-along to come. And, JV, you came up with the idea for this. we should do Kane and Stone Cold for the world title, first blood match. But you also suggested that we should do the Hell in a Cell match, do the watch along. Those matches are back to back on the pay-per-view, so we could just start from Hell in a Cell, watch along, go right through the last two matches as a little special edition that I would like to call a double creature feature. So we'll have that coming out for you. And then we still do have the special edition watch along, Austin versus Hart from Survivor Series '96, which we'll get to you at some point. You guys voted on it; it'll be out there. We'll let you know when it'll be out there, or it might be something that just comes out randomly. So
yeah,
it's on tap. It'll be out there at some point. If you really want it, well, reach out to us on Twitter and say you want it.
Yeah. Because I know we're gonna get the Hell in a Cell ones out. Oh, Hell in a Cell, yeah, it technically is. But the King of the Ring '98 match is out. Say next few weeks at least.
Yeah,
definitely by
Those
the
will
end
be
of
soon.
April. So yeah, like relatively soon.
Yep. All right, so that's what's coming up. Okay, so definitely regular episode next week, and then a couple watch alongs are coming up soon. They'll be here soon. All right, so let's shout out a couple of podcast buddies here. We got Talking Taker and also Booking the Territory. But first, take a listen to Alex Dorio from Talking Taker explain what their show is all about.
Dead man walking.
Oh, hell yeah. What's up, Stone Cold fans? This is Alex Dorio, one of the hosts of Talking Taker. And along with my co-host and fellow creature of the night, Travis White, we are digging up the career of the dead man, one pay-per-view match at a time, on a podcast journey that's a lot like what you're listening to right now on the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. So if you're enjoying what Mike and JV are doing here, going through the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin, come check us out as we explore The Undertaker's 3 decades of destruction. We're right in the midst of the Biker Taker era right now, so you can jump right in or start over from the beginning and hear us discuss The Undertaker's side of the story from his many battles with the Rattlesnake, The Rock, Mankind, and more. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, YouTube, Spotify, and more. And you can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Talking Taker. Thanks to Mike and JV for letting us plug the show, and take her easy. What? I said take her easy.
All right, so definitely take a listen to Talking Taker. This week on Talking Taker, they're covering Backlash 2002 from April 2002. And it's Undertaker versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Ric Flair is the special ref. So I'm definitely going to take a listen to that and even watch that match this week at some point. They do some great coverage of Talking Taker, and Stone Cold Steve Austin has been Undertaker's most common opponent throughout the years up to that point. So go back, listen to Talking Taker and learn about the dead man. And now, Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast, hosted by Mike Mills along with Doc Turner and Hardbody Chris Harper. And they break down the NWA WCW episodes from the 1980s, mid-80s, currently in 1987. This is the old WCW show from 605 spot on TBS. And they're currently, like I said, in 1987. They are covering this week, November 28th of 1987, just coming off the heels of Starrcade 87 and Ric Flair winning back the World Heavyweight Championship from Rugged Ronnie Garvin, or just called Ronnie Garvin at that point. I think he's only rugged when he gets to WWF. And then also on Sundays, they release a second episode, which is focused on Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And they're currently covering September 3rd of 1994, which is episode 136. So take a listen to both those podcasts, Talking Taker and Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast. Okay, you can reach out to us, like I said, if you want those special editions sooner. Well, reach out to us. We want our special editions now. Maybe we'll do that. But reach out to us on Twitter. Reach out to us on Facebook. Okay, we're at Bottom Line Cast on both of those. Or you can reach out to us personally on Twitter at MPRU83. It's me, Mike Prue. And you can reach out to JV at John Van Damage on Twitter. You can also follow us on or subscribe to us and listen to us on other platforms other than what you hear us on here. Okay, so if you listen to us on iTunes, well, that's great. Subscribe to us. Leave a nice comment. That would be sweet. 5-star review on iTunes, that helps us out. Okay, but if you don't use iTunes, we're also available on Stitcher, Podbean, Spotify, TuneIn, Google Play, Radio Public. Whatever you listen to us, that's fine, but there's other options. There's other apps. Maybe the app you use sucks and you want a different one. Well, choose one of the other ones. So you can reach out to us out there, guys. Thanks for listening. Again, next week, King of the Ring 98. A hell of a match. First blood match and a Hell in a Cell match that we're definitely going to talk about in side notes because we can't skip that shit. All right, so I'm Mike Prue. JV, any last words?
No, sir.
All right, thanks, guys, for listening. And remember, don't just click off right now. Listen to Tom Green and an old lady sing on the streets. Again,
you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, you won't be. And again, I'm Mike Prue along with JV. We are out of here. See you next week. Be safe. See you later. So long.
The moon goes over the way and they wanted the way one and the way we go. The way we ran, and the way we ran, and the way we go, the way we go, and the way we ran, way we go, and the way we ran. Make that moonshine go to the first and the couple the way we go. Way we go. And the way we go, and the way we go, and the way we go, and the way we ran. Step around and the way we go, the first and the couple we always do, see to they always do, and he's an out and you always go. It's the way we go. It's the way we go. That's the way we do it. Yo, it's the way we go. It's the way we go. It's the way we go.